It looks like a movie, but it's not. Dramatic video of a meteor streaming across the sky in Russia today. I'm Eric Anderson. Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, we'll hear from a local sky watcher to find out why they didn't see this coming.
I'm Amitha Sharma. Former Mayor Maureen O'Connor shocked San Diego by confessing a gambling addiction. How does it affect her legacy? And if the sidewalk in front of your home or business looks like this, who's supposed to fix it? The answer might surprise you.
The San Diego Opera's Samson and Delilah opens this weekend. We'll have a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to bring this Bible story to the stage.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Erwin Jacobs and by
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Dwayne Brown is off tonight. It is the story that has a lot of people talking and asking a lot of questions tonight. A meteor that exploded over Russia. KPBS reporter Susan Murphy talked to a San Diego planetarium official with many of the answers.
The meteor caused a blinding flash and thunderous boom that damaged buildings and injured nearly 1,000 people. Scientists estimate the meteor was about 49 feet wide and 7,000 tons before it hit the atmosphere. The event came just hours before an asteroid 3 times as large passed close to Earth. NASA has been tracking that one for weeks. John Young is planetarium producer for the Reuben H. Fleet Science Center. He says comparing asteroids and meteors is like comparing rivers to streams. They're essentially the same thing, but different sizes. He says that's why the meteor hit Russia with no warning.
It's hard to find them. They're very small, they're very dark, they're moving very fast. And there's not really a well-established network for finding them. There are some governmental agencies that work on that, but there's no definitive, the bigger ones they have found and mapped, and they know where they are. But the smaller ones, no, it could happen at any time.
Small meteor fireballs reach the atmosphere about once a day, but we don't see many of them because they fall over the ocean or in remote areas. Young says he was lucky enough to witness a meteor in San Diego County last year.
I was camping in Borrego last year, and a meteor entered the Earth's atmosphere over the Sierra Nevadas and exploded, and I heard it in Borrego. So it made a very, very loud sound. In fact, it was heard all over California and the southwestern area. So I could certainly see how sonic boom could cause a lot of damage from that.
Susan Murphy, KPBS News.
Accused killer Christopher Dorner died of a single gunshot wound to the head, but authorities are not quite ready to say that it was a self-inflicted wound. The San Bernardino County Sheriff says his deputies knocked on the door of the condo where Dorner was hiding out for days, right across the street from their command post. He says it was lucky that Dorner didn't answer the door. Investigators say they've recovered numerous weapons and gas canisters from several locations connected to the case. The mastermind behind the bombing of San Diego's federal courthouse 5 years ago will spend 55 years in federal prison. Donnie Love was convicted of orchestrating the bombing. The detonation at the court's front doors caused substantial property damage, but because it was so early in the morning, the shrapnel and nails that flew in all directions didn't injure anyone. Prosecutors say that Love planned to turn in an accomplice and pick up the $75,000 reward. Former San Diego Mayor Maureen O'Connor's multi-million-dollar gambling spree continues to make headlines. Amitha Sharma talks with a reporter who covered O'Connor's term as mayor and is covering her troubles now.
San Diegans never expected their first woman mayor to star in a cautionary tale about gambling addiction. But as we learned yesterday, former Democratic Mayor Maureen O'Connor went on a $1 billion betting streak that lasted nearly a decade. She won big but lost a great deal more, draining her savings, causing her to sell several real estate holdings, auction off personal items, even take second and third mortgages on her home in La Jolla. Yesterday in federal court, she admitted raiding her deceased husband's charity to support her addiction. Tony Perry, San Diego bureau chief of the LA Times, was there. Tony, what kind of deal did she strike with prosecutors?
Well, it's a deferred prosecution. She will not be prosecuted. She has 2 years to do $2 million worth of restitution to the foundation that was doing charitable work. She also has to meet the tax obligations involved with snatching off $2 million from that foundation. If she can do that in 2 years, the charge against her can be dismissed. But the possibility of prosecution is still there, although I think remote. The U.S. Attorney and the private counsel agree that physically her health is declining so quickly that the whole idea of bringing her to trial is just not doable. So she's got 2 years to clean it up, but after that, who knows? Describe the extent of her gambling. Enormous, gigantic, gargantuan. $1 billion.
Is there even enough time in the day to gamble with that much money?
Well, apparently so. Over a period of 9 years at the Indian casinos in San Diego County, plus Las Vegas, plus Atlantic City, doing video poker. She gained and then lost. Overall, lost $1 billion that she had gained and was minus $13 million when all was said and done. Now, to cover some of her betting, she skimmed off $2 million from the foundation that Robert O. Peterson had set up to fund medical research and programs for crippled children, et cetera, et cetera. She wrote a $100,000 check to Bellagio out in Las Vegas. It is said that she was such a high roller that they would send a plane to come fetch her to Las Vegas so she could lose even more. It boggles the mind, particularly given who she was and what we thought we knew about her. If a week ago someone had said, hey, I saw Maureen O'Connor at an Indian bingo palace, I'd have said, yeah, she's probably got a Dixie cup full of little nickels, putting them in a slot machine. Boy, would I have been wrong.
And she tried to convey that yesterday when she walked outside the courtroom. She spoke to reporters. We have a clip of what she said.
And I think most of you that know me here would know that I never meant to hurt the city of Cleveland.
Tony, you were here in San Diego when she was mayor from 1986 to 1992. What kind of leader was she?
Well, it was a different city in those days, and the mayor's office was different than it is now. It wasn't the powerful mayor. But she was a dynamic presence. She came in after scandal. Roger Hedgecock had been convicted of a bunch of misdeeds and booted from office. She came in after that, a clean sense that happy days, if they weren't here again, when they were on their way, she was a phenomena. I think the assistant U.S. attorney, Phil Halpern, who was the lead prosecutor in this case, hit it right. He said, this is a very sad day. It's a woman born here, raised here, gave her whole life, personal and professional, to this city, and now she's been brought to this pitiful end.
So this is an accomplished woman. She served 2 terms as mayor. She married the founder of Jack in the Box, Richard Peterson. Is there any sense, I'm sorry, Robert Peterson, is there any sense of how this happened, what her inner circle knew of this, and what are the checks by casinos? Are there any checks?
Well, she left the mayor's office in '92. Peterson, 30 years older than she, died in '94. She withdrew from public life. People who knew her very, very well for many years couldn't get her on the telephone. Then her close friends, Helen Copley, Joan Kroc, Mercedes McCambridge, they all died. And she was left really with only a little coterie of people, including some relatives, her twin, for example, Mavourneen, but apparently they weren't able to rein her in. I don't know that they even tried. I don't know what the casinos do. I do know what the Internal Revenue Service does, and they watch these things very closely. You start cashing $100,000 checks, they're going to raise some flags, and that's what happened. They raised some flags, and from those flags came the pitiful scene that we saw yesterday.
Very quickly, what role did her brain tumor play in this?
Well, I think even the United States Attorney agrees that something went wrong with her that made her uncontrollable with this urge. Her attorney, Eugene Iredale, who handed out pictures of her brain scan, said that that's really the secret, that this malady interrupted her moral sense.
And we have to close it there. Tony Perry, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Federal lawmakers are investigating a $100 million shortfall for the Job Corps program. It's led to an enrollment freeze at the nation's Job Corps centers, including the one here in San Diego. Job Corps offers education and job training for at-risk youth in centers run by private contractors. Now, the enrollment freeze is virtually unprecedented in the program's 50-year history. Funding for Job Corps has fallen short for the past 2 years, and that gap keeps growing. Lawmakers say the continuing financial problems raise serious questions about the program's management. University of San Diego teachers and students got a look today at the latest tools for the interactive classroom.
We do everything from design to fabrication, installation. We do the software, we supply the hardware, everything from conception to fruition.
USD hopes allowing teachers and students to see the tools up close will help them decide if they're a good fit.
And be able to zoom into an artifact like this.
Douglas Brashear is demonstrating Wolf Vision's latest overhead projector. It's no longer just about using a transparency.
I have an artifact here that I want to be able to see detail and describe how this artifact, but I want to do it in real time, so it's more interactive with the classroom, more collaborative, and so this gives me the ability to have the visual.
And that image is now high definition and able to be streamed at 60 frames per second. And that is the key. Find the tools that enhance but don't get in the way.
We want them engaged with us so that we could make the right choice after hearing their important information, what matters to them in the classroom, what works and what doesn't work.
And with rapidly evolving technology, tools that were top of the line a year ago may have already been replaced by a better version. Also at USD today, construction workers were busy at Fowler Park. They were putting the finishing touches on the school's new $13.8 million baseball stadium. There is a deadline. The baseball team's first home game is at 7 o'clock tonight against crosstown rival San Diego State University.
I think to the attendees, they won't notice some of the small adjustments that will have to be made in the next week or two, but you know, the stadium itself will again accommodate our fans in a way that they've never been accommodated before.
Weekend's games are all sold out, but Bakar says the athletic department is still trying to sell tickets to the remaining 30 games on the schedule. The new facility is located in that canyon behind the Jenny Craig Pavilion. The Padres have reported for spring training in Arizona. The new owners haven't made any big changes to the roster this year. The first preseason game is scheduled next week against the Seattle Mariners. Walter Reed National Military Medical Center is launching a study to look at whether there's a relationship between the increased use of antidepressants and suicide rates among service members and veterans. They'll be using technology developed by an Orange County company called CNS Response. It allows doctors to compare a patient's brain scan with those of others in an online registry. And local animal activists will be protesting at SeaWorld San Diego on Sunday. The People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals are against keeping orcas in captivity. Baby orca was born at the park yesterday. We don't know yet if it's a girl or a boy, but it does appear to be healthy. It is the 6th orca born at SeaWorld San Diego, which now is home to 10 killer whales. Passengers from a troubled cruise ship have just barely made it home, but one of them is already suing Carnival for a trip that turned into a disaster. An engine fire disabled the Carnival Triumph last Sunday, leaving it without power, drifting in the Gulf of Mexico, and leaving more than 2,000 passengers stuck in miserable conditions. The one who's suing says she feared for her life because of the presence of raw sewage and spoiled food. Attorneys for Carnival say they haven't seen that suit yet. Ever wonder whose job it is to fix that broken sidewalk outside of your home? Amitha Sharma has that answer.
There are thousands of miles of sidewalks in San Diego. It's the job of homeowners and business owners to fix sidewalks if they're cracking or caving in. The only problem is most people don't know that. Liam Dillon of The Voice of San Diego has done extensive reporting on the subject. He joins me now. Liam, I have to ask you first. Hi. Yeah. What drew you to cover sidewalks?
Well, the city's policies on it are fundamentally illogical. I mean, it's just as simple as that. As you say, generally speaking, it's the homeowner or property owner's responsibility to repair and maintain maintain sidewalks, but it's the city's legal liability if, generally speaking, if someone trips and falls over the exact same sidewalk. It just doesn't make any sense. The homeowner has no incentive to fix it because it's not their problem if someone falls, and the city has no incentive to fix it because they only care if someone does trip and fall, so they'll go out and put asphalt or something as a temporary fix.
Well, we have some pictures here of the condition of some of the sidewalks.
Right.
What is the condition in general of the city's sidewalks?
The city doesn't know. The city's never gone out and done a comprehensive assessment of what its sidewalks are. So
why not?
Well, in part because they say it's not their responsibility. And so why would you go out and check on something that's not really yours to fix? And so once you have a number and put a number of what the costs are, what the conditions are, then you might feel like you have some obligation to fix it. Now, granted, the city has a new committee that's looking at infrastructure, streets, and storm drains and things like that, and they've expressed interest in taking a closer look at sidewalks as part of their charge.
What's the public's sense of all this? How aware of the rules are they governing sidewalks? But also, does the city receive a lot of complaints about the condition of their sidewalks?
Yeah, I would venture to guess that 90%, if not more, people in the city have no idea it's their job to fix sidewalks that are broken, and so that's kind of I guess, sort of an outreach issue, right? But the city does receive a tremendous amount of sidewalk complaints, and as I mentioned earlier, what they'll do is they'll go out and they'll throw asphalt over some of the worst, most offending sections to help reduce their legal liability, which is something, again, that they are responsible for.
And what does that look like?
It looks horrible. It looks horrible.
Now, there are areas of town where there are no sidewalks.
Mm-hmm.
You call them missing sidewalks,
right.
Particularly in San Ysidro. And we have some pretty scary pictures
right.
here that we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
Why aren't there sidewalks in these areas?
Well, there are certain areas of the city where it kind of makes sense, right? They're more rural, or there are all sorts of things like that. But I think most people would agree that if you're in a certain section or certain area that's very much near a school, for instance, you'd want to have a sidewalk there. The area that you referenced in San Ysidro is between, there's a high school that's sort of at the top of a hill, a middle school at the bottom of the hill, there's and housing developments surrounding both. But in the middle, there's about a half-mile stretch where there's a canyon on one side and a hill on the other side, and no properties are there that are kind of fronting them, and so there's no sidewalk.
So as we can see, I mean, it looks pretty dangerous. What's being done about that?
Well, the city does have a project on its kind of capital improvement list to build this. The problem is that it's extremely expensive. It's not just a sidewalk that they're going to be building. They're going to try to expand the road as well. But in order to do it, because the canyon side, which is where the kids walk now, is so narrow, they're going to have to blast into the hill in order to be able to build, the new sidewalk and other improvements there. It's a $7 million project. It's something that's not easy to fund.
But now they've promised to do this in the past, have they?
Sure. I mean, there have been a number of promises since even the San Ysidro High School opened in 2002 to do this project. It was supposed to be funded by development fees. When there are new developments, new homes, things that come in, they go into an account that are fund public improvements. Problem is when the economy the bottom dropped out of the economy, as it did a few years back, those fees dried up, and so the expected money never came in.
And we should mention that there are more photographs on the Stumbler website.
Yes, we have a website. We've encouraged people to send emails to us, liam@vosd.org, of the worst sidewalks that you see in the city. Send them to me, and we'll put them on our new blog of bad sidewalks all over the city. We call it the Stumbler, TheStumblr.com.
And very quickly, what does what has happened in this particular stretch of San Ysidro reveal about the city's policies? Very quickly.
Sure. I mean, I think what it says is that there has to be sort of better planning that takes into account worst-case scenarios. If the money wasn't going to come in, there had to be a solution that should have, come aided and help these kids as they're walk to and from school.
Liam Dillon, thank you so much for speaking to us today.
Thank you.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next News Hour, Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano on cyber threats, plus Shields and Brooks. That's Friday on the PBS News Hour.
A couple of special elections are going to be held in San Diego next month, and poll workers are needed. The Registrar of Voters Office saying they especially need workers who can speak Chinese, Tagalog, Spanish, and Vietnamese. The special elections are scheduled for March 12th and March 26th. Someone you know could be a big lottery winner, but the clock is ticking for them to claim their prize. The Mega Millions ticket for September 14th worth $171,000, but no one has come forward. It was purchased at Naval Base San Diego, and there's less than a month left to claim the prize. You can check those tickets now. Winning numbers are 40, 21, 51, 16, and 17, but not the mega number 20. A change up in the weather along the coast this weekend, with temperatures dropping some 20 degrees. Those temperatures continue inland. Sunshine and cooler temperatures in the mountains, and sun along with scattered clouds expected in the desert. The San Diego Opera's Samson and Delilah opens this weekend. KPBS Arts reporter Beth Accomando goes behind the scenes to see what it takes to bring this Bible story to the stage.
The San Diego Opera's new production of Samson and Delilah is all about scale.
It's a big sucker. Well, behind us we have the load-in of the set for Samson and Delilah. And a load-in is when everything comes off the truck and is then assembled on stage. It's one of the biggest sets we've actually put up in this theatre, and it takes an awful lot of people to put it together, as you can see. The moment the curtain goes up, you know where it's set. You know that it's grand. You know that Cecil B. DeMille was involved.
It is indeed a Cecil B. DeMille production in every way, shape, and form. This set takes up the whole stage. What you don't see on stage is backstage being in storage, and it's huge. There is no space to move at all.
Works of this scale always scare us. So, you know, with orchestras, choruses, we can make up crew, electricians, stagehands, just go through it. It's an astonishing number of people.
This one we have 3 different scenes. They are moving all the time. It takes a 25-minute intermission to do the scene change, even with 41 guys. It's choreographed.
3, 2, together.
Our stagehands have to rehearse because this wall's got to go here, and before that you have to move the other wall out. Our technical director really choreographs it.
Okay, now start heading towards stage left.
It takes the rehearsal of the backstage people just as much as the people on stage to get a production correct.
For director Leslie Koenig, getting the production correct means making sure the small details get as much attention as the big ones.
I really like telling the story, having the intimate moments on stage, even in a scene with 120 people. The story comes first. I really like a kind of clean visual aesthetic. So we've cut lots of stuff out of it and pared the set down to the essentials.
To make sure the right things are pared down and the essentials are left in, Koenig likes to walk around the theater during rehearsals.
I like to come down and really see people up close. It's one thing to sit back where we tech the show, which is always in every theater, row M. That's where you sort of get the best perspective on what the stage looks like. We can see the stage floor so the light's not spilling and whatnot. But I like to come up close and see what they look like up close, and then I know they're going to look good far away.
Samson and Delilah can be a good first opera for someone since the story is such a familiar one.
It's in the Bible. We all have some image of Samson. And having his hair trimmed, which makes him less potent so that he can be captured, blinded.
This is kind of a fun one because they decided to actually do the hair cutting on stage. A lot of times they go off stage and the wig person will be back there to cut it off. But we have a really great mezzo who is really good with the scissors, and she knows exactly where to cut it every single night, and she's been spot on. And so what we've done is this wig has to be used over and over again, so the back of it is rows of wefted hair that every day we take these out after they've been cut and put them back in. And then there's some little secret ones up here that are long that blend in. You can see, if I show it to you, you can see the cut line. That's where she cuts every night. And so we've blended it in with a few other long ones so you can't really tell where the cut line is.
So it's a really great story. It's easy to understand. It's exciting. And, you know, it ends with the demise of a temple.
Oh, yeah, the collapse is the best. It just is the best. Just because it's grand in every way, shape, and form. Basically, what happens with that is there are statues on the side that will tilt in as he is pulling down the temple. The pillars are structured. If you were a kid, you had one of these little horses that was taut, and then if you pressed on the bottom and it loosened the strings, it kind of collapsed. That's actually the principle of the pillars. It's just great.
It's a biblical ending that brings the house down. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
The San Diego Opera's Samson and Delilah opens on Saturday night at the San Diego Civic Theater. It'll also be broadcast live on KPBS Radio. Recapping tonight's top stories. Around the world, people can't take their eyes off that dramatic video of a fast-moving meteor as it blazes across the western Siberian sky today. The blinding flash and the booming shockwave exploded with the force of 20 atomic bombs. More than 1,000 people were injured, mainly from blasted-out windows. NASA says the meteor weighed an estimated 70,000 tons. Accused killer Christopher Dorner died of a single gunshot wound to the head, but authorities are not ready to say it was self-inflicted. The San Bernardino County Sheriff says his deputies knocked on the door of the condo where Dorner was hiding out for days, right across the street from their command post. He said it was lucky that Dorner didn't answer that door. Investigators say they've recovered numerous weapons and gas canisters from several locations connected to the case. Federal lawmakers are investigating a $100 million shortfall in the Job Corps program. It's led to an enrollment freeze at the nation's Job Corps centers, including the one here in San Diego. Job Corps offers education and job training for at-risk youth in centers run by private contractors. The enrollment freeze is virtually unprecedented in the program's 50-year history. You can find tonight's stories and download the KPBS app all on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us and have a great evening.